Good people, welcome back to another episode, or really not an episode, another podcast from Drum Code.
Call it episode, call it whatever you want.
Podcast 2.
Yep.
Pocket versus chops.
Or really, what is the pocket?
Really, I mean, another touchy subject because there's too many sensitive people in the internet world. Okay,
And that's it. We starting right there.
we're gonna go ahead and call it, Brody.
Okay.
We're gonna call it. It's a lot of sensitivity out there, and it's based off insecurity. A lot of people don't know themselves. They're just insecure, and so they're going based off of what they were taught to think. They don't even think for themselves. But before we dive into it,
You going deep real quick.
listen.
we
We
can't even get our feet wet, huh?
We can't even.
We just diving straight in.
off the high dive too.
Man, I ain't come here for all that.
Okay, we came here for that. So before we dive deeper into it, shout out to our sponsors, thedrumcoaches.com.
Yes, sir.
Your boy.
For
also,
sure.
The DrumTracks app.
Yes.
Or is it DrumTracks app or the DrumTracks?
It's just DrumTracks app. If you
DrumTracks.
search it in the Google Play or on the Android store, it's just DrumTracks, all one word, DrumTrax, and you'll find the app. Oh, a bunch of free play-along tracks. You could download the app for free, create a free account. You can start streaming these drumless tracks. Follow the DrumTracks on Instagram. Follow the Drum Coaches.
That's right.
On Instagram.
Why are you not following your boy? You need to come on now.
And
come on over.
And so
And we got lifetime memberships. Pay once.
at the Drum Coaches, definitely lifetime memberships.
Pay one time. I mean, who doesn't want to pay once and then be a member forever?
Have all these lessons, and the site is still being updated with lessons. How many are we over now?
We are over 210 lessons.
Okay.
210. I
Okay.
think. It might be 205. Don't hold me on that. Over 200 for sure. Okay, and updating every week.
Yep.
New lesson every Sunday.
Yep. And we add new tracks to the DrumTracks app every single week. If you follow the Instagram, you'll see all the updates when I release new tracks. So,
And if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, stay updated with us every time we post.
because we plan to keep doing this.
That's right. I mean, you asked for it after the first one. There's people that said, hey, just continue to do what it is that you do. But enough with all the pleasantries. Let's get into it. What is the pocket? Let me ask you.
Why you gonna ask me? You already started.
I'm gonna ask
you. Already pushed everybody off the boat into the deep end.
Which means I already gave my opinion.
Oh,
I'm done.
okay.
The podcast's over.
Oh, like
Go
that.
home.
Listen,
What is the pocket to you? When you first heard the term pocket, how old were you?
I'd be a kid, bro.
And who told you?
I don't even remember. I just heard it. My dad used to actually talk about it. You need to play in the pocket.
Your dad plays?
No,
I didn't know that.
no, he doesn't.
Oh,
play.
he doesn't play.
No,
Oh,
but he's just talking
about the pocket.
Right, because it came from the context that I had. My dad was a huge funk head. Like, he liked funk music. He loved James Brown. He loved George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic.
Good man.
He loved Sly and the Family Stone. He loved
Pops. You on the
Tower
something.
of Power, like all of that stuff, right?
He on the something.
From
What
funk-
happened with you, man? Jeez.
Listen, I love funk music. What are you talking about?
No,
I just happen to play a lot of jazz fusion.
He hates funk music and church. Go ahead.
Wow.
Continue.
Okay. Anyway, so my dad would talk about the pocket, and I never knew what he was talking about. I don't even think he really knew what he was talking about.
Hey, that's Pops. Don't disrespect. Disrespect. Don't you disrespect Pops.
I'm just saying, it was just a feeling. Like, this feels good because the drummer is in the pocket. The groove is feeling really great. And so that was around the first time I heard the term pocket. I heard it from other people, and I don't think they ever really knew what they were talking about. I think they all were it's just a term that they heard because it was around that funk genre of music where they wanted a song to lock or to groove. And when you say you want it to lock, nobody would really tell you what that means either. We know what it means now, but when I first heard it, I had no clue. I was confused. The term was extremely elusive. The term was extremely vague. And it seemed like they would use it in a ton of different situations, which made like the definitions contradictory. But
So that goes to our first podcast. You just had to be around.
yeah,
You had to hang around that person long enough to understand what he was.
Maybe not just that person, but around somebody else who actually had it. It was like the pocket was one of those things that for a long time I thought was just an intangible of playing. Because I do believe that there are intangibles. Like, there are things that you practice and you want to get good at stuff, but then there's that intangible thing that makes it magic. And I thought that's what pocket was, and that maybe if I just played long enough, I would land there at some point. Because they're like, oh, how do you know when you're in the pocket? You'll know when you're there. Like, that helps. That totally helps me get there, right?
It don't help at all.
You'll know when you get there.
You'll know.
Like some type of deep mystical experience I'm supposed to have. I don't know. But that's how it was taught. So, or it wasn't taught. That's how it was explained. To the best of their knowledge.
It wasn't explained to me.
See, but then the time that I actually heard a practical usage of the word pocket, something that I can say, oh, I should try to do that, was when I watched Dennis Chambers on in his DVD, or it was a tape. I had the VHS. I think it was DCI Music. He was putting them tapes out back in the day. I think it was him. It wasn't Hudson yet.
Man.
But anyway,
You old, Doc.
I don't know if I'm that old, bro. Don't get at me. Anyway. He talked about the pocket in his In the Pocket video.
Oh yeah, I got that, but I got it on DVD. I got that.
Yeah, I had it on the VHS tape, and so I was like, if there's a tape called In the Pocket, give me that. But first I saw the Serious Moves DVD. He was going in. But anyway, on the In the Pocket DVD, or the tape, he talked about his time playing with Parliament and Funkadelic, and he talked about how they were talking about the pocket, and he didn't know what they were talking about. Because he came from a world, he said, of playing a lot of fusion and jazz, and then all of a sudden he gets a call and he's playing a Parliament Funkadelic gig, and they're talking about the pocket, and he's confused. And it was a whole nother style of music, so he had to learn how to play with that style of music. But then he finally asked him, yo, what do you mean by the pocket? What are you talking about? Like, bro.
Give me the answer.
Like, what is this? I don't even know what you... So he was asking him about that, and they told him, he said, what they meant by the pocket was you can either play on the beat, which is what they didn't want. George wanted him to play behind the beat, but consistently, right? So he's playing slightly behind the beat. It gives us a slightly heavy or a dragging feel a little bit, but it's consistent. And that's what he meant by the pocket. But that's the key word there was he said that's what George meant when he said the pocket. And he said that on the DVD more than one time. When he would say what?
Yeah, but how many people watched that part of the DVD, and how many people just fast forwarded to hear the playing?
I don't know. In my mind, I wanted to hear what he had to say just as much as I wanted to see him play. So I figured everybody wanted to, but maybe they didn't. So when I listened to that, I realized, he didn't know what the pocket was. They told him what the pocket was for them, which makes me still believe and actually know that the pocket is not any one thing. To me, the pocket is this. It is playing a groove that is consistent, that doesn't have variations. It could have some slight variations, but it doesn't cause a variation in the feel. And that groove has to feel like magic. It just has to feel great. And if it doesn't, then you're out of the pocket. So that means that the pocket for one style of music or for one artist or for one whatever could be different than what the pocket is for the next thing. And I think that everyone believes that there's one universal.
I was about to say you stepping on toes. That's where they're going.
They believe there's one universal term or one universal definition for the pocket, and there's just not.
That's where they're headed.
There's just not. The pocket is what you. It's like any slang term, right?
I know that.
Yeah. So like we take words that have a definition and we change the definition of that word by the context in which we use it because we agree that this word means this. So in certain situations, the pocket means no drum fills. Like, don't play any chops at all. They are the devil. The only thing that is holy and right and acceptable unto him is the groove. And your groove needs to be as basic as possible. And you need to make sure that you only play quarter notes and not eighth notes because eighth notes is doing too much. You're not disciplined. You need to humble yourself. That's what it means. And then in another situation, the pocket means something completely different.
Oh my gosh.
So when you talk about pocket playing, I really think it all boils down to that, like, we could say the term pocket, but in all actuality, it's really all about just playing what is necessary for that music. That's what it is.
Well, I agree. I remember growing up, the pocket and growing up in the Baptist church was you play the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat.
Okay.
And then you crash on the one when you're supposed to crash on the one.
For sure.
We had 3 times, 12, 13, 16.
Old school.
But then we also had the ridiculous rototoms to the left. Well, we had them things. So
when I seen them rototoms, Cause they brought him to my church too when I was a kid, and when I seen him joints, I was like, if you don't get these timbales, who brought the congas in here?
Them joints is horrible.
And they like the heads are super tight, so they don't even feel like the rest of the drums.
It was terrible.
You play the thing, I hit the tom, almost hit myself in the eye with the bounce back. It was like,
well, it was terrible. We had them set up right over the hi-hat, right to the left of me, and then which gave you 6 options to hit if you go all the way around.
Right.
And with all those options, the pocket in my church meant you don't touch those. They're there for looks. They're there because it looks cool. The older drummers in the church had a little bit more freedom because I started playing in church when I was 6. So there really was no freedom because they believe as a child, if you give a child freedom, they're not going to know what to do with it.
Right.
So it was land on 2 and 4 and play your hi-hat notes straight. So don't even play extra. If it's an 8th note groove, it's just 1 and 2 and. Don't go don't do none of that.
Right.
Just check straight. That's it. And keep it closed. Matter of fact, even on choruses and vamps, I wasn't allowed to open my hi-hat and play the little, the trashy.
Right.
I wasn't allowed to do that because that wasn't the pocket. That was you was doing too much.
Right.
It was keep it tight. Michael Jackson style. Straight.
Yeah, and that sucks because if you didn't do that, then your dad was gonna whoop you when you got home.
Whoa, pause, Brody, pause. Okay, don't bring my pops into this situation because your pops told you to stay in the pocket.
Listen,
okay?
he did. He told me a few times.
No, see, my dad's a bass player, and so when we was playing, he always said, learn the basics first, then add the colorful stuff later. The problem is later meant 20 years.
Right.
Where he's like, no, you do it later. And for 20 years, he kept saying later. Like, Pop, when can I have some fun, yo? Like, can I play? Yeah, later. It's coming. Don't worry, it's coming. Now it's, go ahead and be free. It's like, Pop, it's been almost 30 years, and now you're letting me be free?
Right.
Why didn't you let me be free when I was younger? Now, I do understand where he was coming from. Like I said, a kid with no discipline can be crazy because there are some really good kid drummers who play everything they know, right?
True.
When you see it, and it's like, dude.
True. But it's not bad that they know those things. You just gotta. There is some discipline that does need to be gained, and so you have to pull the reins. But like in my mind, I feel like it's better. It's good to learn. You got to learn the basics. Like the foundation of drumming is playing time and being able to keep time. If you cannot keep time, you're what are you doing, right?
Yeah.
So for sure, you got to learn how to keep time. I would never, especially a child, would want to cripple their creativity or their curiosity about the drums and everything else that has to do with playing. Because there's in certain situations you want to tell them for sure. Not at church, like when we're playing these songs, make sure the groove is the important thing. Make sure you're crashing. This is why. But when you're at home and you're practicing, you want to practice your groove and stuff, but you should be able to explore and do other things because there's more to it, right? Like it's like being any musician on any instrument. You tell a piano player, these are the chords of the songs. Just play this, like block chords. But no, like if you listen to any record on the piano, they're not just going, There's subtleties and embellishments that are gained through trial and error. Like, how do you think all of this stuff even came to exist? Like, there's experimentation, there's curiosity, there's exploration, and that can't be crippled. Now, like, again, for everybody that's listening and only hearing that part and not hearing the rest of what I said before.
They cut the video off.
Yeah, they do that, right? But it's tempered, it's balanced with the other side. It just can't be all one thing.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, the pocket is the foundation. The groove, making the music feel good is the foundation. But sometimes embellishments make the music feel good, and melodic instruments like the piano or the guitar or the bass or a horn are not the only instruments that can enhance the music with an embellishment. It's just all in taste and knowing what's what, and you won't be out of the pocket for doing that.
Well, when I teach my younger kids, my younger students, I let them go for blood first. I let them go all the way crazy. And then I dial it back from there.
Right.
Because if I have them stay in the pocket, what happens is, I used to do that. Like, oh, no, I just pocket first, and then we'll add fills here and there. They get nervous when it comes to fills.
Right.
And comes to, like, doing a transition. Like, okay, going from the verse to the chorus, give me a little something, and then we're going to go back into the groove. And they're nervous. Like, I don't know what to play.
Right.
But the ones where I just let them go crazy and then dial it back, they're like, oh, I do fills all the time. So
Right.
Verse to chorus, oh, that's easy. If you want me to
money.
keep going, I'll keep going.
And they're probably more creative because you let them explore their creative freedom. And if you are always telling them, no, that's bad, no, that's bad, no, that's bad, you kill the creativity, that curiosity, that exploration goes away. And they feel like, oh, I should never go there. And some people put up a wall, and then they are adults who are 40 years old and get upset with drummers who didn't close that door. And they say, I'm a pocket drummer, and what I do pays the bills. And so what I'm doing has more value.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
the key word, value. What I do has more value, which makes me more important. It makes me feel better that I do this because this pays the. Like you said in the beginning. Look, you just dive deep early. No, Brody. I've been trying to tiptoe.
Now you trying to tell them you're insecure, fam. I'll tell you. Look. For those of you watching on YouTube, I'm looking at the camera now. Okay? Watching on YouTube,
dead
Facebook,
in the eye, huh?
Look you dead in your eye.
Okay.
You are insecure if you feel that you are better than someone else because you do something different than they do.
Whether it's pockets, whether it's chops,
whatever it is, whether you're trying to make them feel bad,
right? Whether
like,
you're
I do this,
right? I mean, there's drummers who can't play chops, but they can do some great, or they can play some chops, but not nearly as good as the guys who are chop masters, but they are really great at, I don't know, independence or something like that. We're like, well, can you do it with your left foot? Keep going though. Your left foot's not going. Look, my left foot's going. That's. And I get it, and I feel like there's.
No, I don't get it, bro. I tell you what I can do with this left foot. Off camera, I'm gonna show you what I can do with this left foot, homie.
No, at the end of the day, though, like I mean, of course, you want to be able to explore all aspects of your playing, but you got to appreciate what somebody could do, even if you can't do it. It doesn't make it bad just because they do it, and. A lot of times, like you said, people are just insecure. They just want to feel better about themselves. And depending on the style of music that you play, yes, playing no fills and just playing groove or playing minimal fills, because that all you could do is some basic stuff, can get you paid. And it depends on what your dreams, because you got to understand, everybody's dream is not the same dream. Everybody doesn't want to be play for a pop artist. There are a lot of people who do, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to do that and doing what is necessary to do that, playing what is necessary to do that. If that's what you want to do, find what the music is, play what's necessary for that. Some people want to play in a rock band, which has a lot more freedom, and they do a whole lot more stuff. Matter of fact, you dang near got to be in shape to play some of them shows.
Facts.
Or are you gonna get in shape?
Well.
And
some people want to do cover band. I don't know why, but they want to do it.
Just disrespectful, bro. Just rude.
Bro, listen. Cover band was the bane of my existence.
Okay, that's not what this podcast is about.
That's what it's about.
No, this is not what this. We're gonna move on
because I played for quite a few.
You gotta keep
quite
going.
a few cover bands, bro. I can't stand that music, man.
Anyway,
I can't stand it.
I feel you, but it's not wrong for people who want to do that.
No, I think they should do it.
Right,
for sure. Like, go for it. I just said I don't understand.
And at the same time, there's people who want to play stuff that may not make a lot of money. They just want to be creative and do their own thing.
I actually attest to that. I know a drummer who doesn't play any gigs. He plays drums with his guitar player in a 10x10 studio. Mm-hmm. That's it. And I asked him, I saw him, I said, hey man, I hear y'all in there jamming. Y'all working on new music together, or are those covers? Because no one was singing, so I didn't know if they was just doing a cover.
Rehearsal or whatever, yeah.
And so he said, oh, it's both. We make up new stuff, and then some of them are covers, and sometimes we throw covers within our original stuff. Yeah. I said, okay, that's dope. So when are y'all finna be performing? He goes, oh no, I just do this for the fun. We get together because it's kind of like a stress reliever.
Yeah.
We just play within this 4 walls, this little 10x10 room, and then we go home. We go back to our job in the morning, and that's it. And that's all he wants to do. And I said, you know what? I can't knock it.
You can't.
I cannot sit there and be like, bro, why don't you play out?
And it doesn't. And it literally doesn't matter what they're playing because it's art. They're just in there expressing themselves. And I feel like we forget why we started playing.
Talk about it.
And so, yeah, you start playing because you love the instrument.
Well, see, my dad said you're going to play or else you're going to get your tail whooped.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That was the first thing. But
you were playing for survival.
But the first time I went to, Children's Church.
Uh-huh.
After I played, I ain't going to lie to you. when all the girls came up, like, I saw you on the drums. I said, hey, Brody,
This is for me.
bro, this right here is it. Every Sunday I'm on. Get me on, Pops. What's good?
Yeah.
Holla at your boy. Because, I mean.
But you better not touch them toms, though.
Well, that part was.
You out here trying to show out now.
That part was.
That's what got your tail whooped.
That was painful. Because, no, what happened was when I got older and tried to play extra things, I was coming in off beat a lot.
Listen, I remember. I'm not going to lie to you, bro.
No. You don't remember. He's made.
Listen, we want to talk facts. We going to talk facts.
We moving right along.
We're moving right along.
We're moving right along.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I'm bringing it back up. It's coming back up.
Part of the title,
I'm not going to let it go.
Pocket versus
It
chops.
will come back up.
We said, what is the pocket? Now, moving on to pocket versus chops. Okay. The chop side of it is sometimes the chops is a part of the pocket where the drummer is responsible to set up, especially in gospel music, but also in other genres as well. You're responsible to set up the next change, the next hit, the next syncopated line that the whole band is playing. You can't just come in and go bam, bam, bam. It's got to be bam, bam, bam. You got to set it up,
right?
And that's a part of the pocket.
And those type of drum fills are what's appropriate for that style of music. Now, if you listen to jazz, right, and you're listening to any great jazz drummer play, they are busy as crap.
All
they
day
are
long.
busy as crap. And guess what? It wouldn't be the same if they weren't.
Facts.
If they were just really up there going, playing a swing pattern like ting ching cha ting ching cha ting ching cha ting ha do ba ting cha ting. And look, there's some jazz music where that's necessary.
Yeah.
But do some hard bop.
Oh, you got to have notes. You got to
everywhere.
Fill it in. It's all over.
It'd be random stuff.
Yeah.
And it sounds amazing.
The crazy part is all of that random stuff, there is a science to it because they're feeding off of whoever's taking a solo or off of what the band is playing. And in jazz, they call it comping, which means complimenting.
Right.
You gotta compliment the music. So a lot of these crazy notes that you hear is because, this trumpet player did some weird rhythm. Right. I mean, it's a part of whatever scale he's playing during his solo, but it's a weird rhythm that we heard like, ooh, that was a dotted whatever it was. And I'm a compliment that, and I'll do it maybe with you, or I might do it after you. I heard you do it, so then I do it out of nowhere. But to the untrained ear, you're like, oh, he's just playing. What's all that? It's like, oh, well, he heard what he did, and he's listening to him, and he followed that guy. So go back now and listen to that solo, and then listen to what the drummer did. And if you have the mature ear, you can hear, oh, he's actually playing with the band.
There's usually always context, especially when you're listening. It's important to, especially in jazz, when you're listening to other musicians that are on the stage, you guys are vibing off of each other and complimenting each other. And just because it's the horn player solo doesn't necessarily mean that you can't play any notes anymore.
That part.
but
preach.
It all depends on the genre. Now, if you're playing a pop gig, right,
or funk gig with one of the homies.
Yeah, and you're playing for artists and there's a certain thing that they need you to do, then do that certain thing. And if it's not being busy, then it's not being busy. But you just
Yo, good people, we quickly apologize for interrupting your program because his Apple product shut off. Come on over to Droid for all you Apple users out there because our cameras don't shut off.
What are you? Are you an affiliate? Are you getting paid?
Listen, this is a quick pause. We ain't going to keep talking. I just gave them the message.
Anyway.
Now get back to the regularly
scheduled program. You be
right
quiet.
Now.
You blah. You got to do what's necessary for that. And if you're not being busy, then you're not being busy. But you still be in the pocket or playing what's necessary for the music. And that's what it's about.
Well, that's why I enjoy playing jazz fusion because you get to play more notes and not be considered out of the pocket. In fact, it's called enhancing the music. And if you do play it super straight where there's not enough notes, it does feel empty.
Right.
Which there are with jazz fusion, you can have songs that are dedicated where it's like, hey, not so much this time. But I like the freedom of being able to play whatever I choose to play.
Listen, we call it musical freedom, and I don't mind putting a shameless plug in.
Hey, listen, go ahead and follow the band. We started our own band.
We sure did.
It's called Mino Yancy, MINOYANCI. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, we'll put a link in the description somewhere.
You can follow us on Instagram or on Facebook. We don't have a YouTube yet. We should get one.
No, we're
gonna start a SoundCloud too, right?
SoundCloud, yeah. SoundCloud.
You can just search Mino Yancy 2 on iTunes, Spotify,
Bandcamp.
We just released the EP last November. It is a bunch of musical freedom. Because that's just what we like to play. So
follow our band, man. For those of you who want to hear some what we consider good music, It's good to us.
Shameless
So,
plug.
Shameless plug.
And we are definitely playing what's necessary for the music and our stuff because we created it, so we decide what's necessary for the music.
Talk about it.
So there's that part, right?
Yeah, if you want to play more chops, start your own band.
Start your own band, do what you want to do.
Because it's up to you.
I mean, but you got to do that. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah,
that's a whole other. We'll do that.
Let's call it.
We'll do that in a whole nother podcast.
Let's call it. We ain't gonna talk.
Definitely
got
to do the whole like.
It's been too long already.
Yeah. We ain't gonna talk your ear off.
As we just talked the ear off.
Because it's a podcast and that's what you do.
So we're gonna wrap this podcast up. If there's any questions, comments, concerns.
Wait, let me. I just want to summarize real quick before we do.
Oh God, his summarizations be 30 minutes.
But I bet you gonna understand.
Okay.
I bet you gonna understand. So what?
The floor is yours.
Thank you,
just sit back.
Bishop. I appreciate it. Thank you. Now, just so we sum it up, what we're saying is the pocket is playing what's necessary for the music. There is no like set definition of what the pocket is. People tend to mean don't play any chops, don't play anything at all but a straight beat and sound like a robot. And there's a time and place for that, and that's what's necessary for that music. But there's also
that's called smooth jazz.
Really?
Those are called fake drums, robotic drums. Everything else is real.
No, but there are drummers that are like they take pride in sounding like a drum machine and being able to do the computerized or the slumped feeling, but it's super consistent. Like every single time, it's just slumped at the exact same point of every beat. I mean, that's a talent. It's a skill. Like you got to get good at doing that.
Shout out to Questlove
and
the truth,
and other people like Chris Dave and Chris Dave got chops though too. He is one of the most creative, innovative drummers I've
Shout
ever.
out to Chris Daddy Dave, man. Well, I don't think he goes by Daddy Dave. But Chris Dave. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've been following him since Mint Condition days.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. But anyway, there's that. And so then there's other styles of music where playing what's necessary is more than that. And I guess you could still consider that the pocket because they're doing what's necessary for the music. So if there's a definition that I would give of what the pocket is, it's playing what is necessary for the music. Not any more, not any less.
There you have it. His 30-minute rant was only...
I think we need to have a segment on this podcast called Damani's Rant. I'm with it. I'm with it.
I of course you're with it. Your name is in it. That's the problem. He said, I'm going to rant. And I'm going to be sitting back like this.
That's what you do. Because listen, it's better when you're quiet.
you know what?
There's a saying my grandfather used to say.
All right, that's it, good people. We're going to go ahead and get on up out of here.
Yep.
Done talking for the day. See you guys on podcast 3. Peace.